Hey guys, welcome back to the weekly TA video for AMC. Last week, I told you that AMC was likely to find resistance at $4.50 during the week. That is what happened. You can see that here on the daily chart. In today's video, I'm going to talk about that one guy on Twitter who said AMC is going to $1.50 very, very soon. I know some of y'all are wondering my thoughts on that because you were asking me about it on the live stream. We'll go through the box office from this weekend really quick, and I'll share some quick TA thoughts for you of what is my expectations for this coming week. Let's get right into the info. On the box office for this weekend, we just got the numbers in. This weekend came in around $93 million, with the big movie this weekend obviously being Venom: The Last Dance at $51 million for the opening weekend. Venom came in a little bit light, but I only had it estimated for the entire domestic run at $130 million. We'll come in a little bit lower than that, but not too worried about Venom only doing $51 million on opening weekend. This coming weekend, November 1st, there are not a lot of wide releases, so just be prepared in advance that next weekend will probably be a lower weekend domestic box office. For the quarter, that brings us to $427 million, and that is right in line with where I expected us to be at this point in the end of October. I do have a total estimate for Q4 of around $2.5 billion to $2.7 billion, and the big movies for Q4 all begin around the middle of November. Once we get into those big opening weekends in November, going into December, if I need to adjust my Q4 box office estimate, then we will do that on the fly. Right now, I'm just doing my best guess, and Q4 has a lot riding on these big tent poles, and we're not gonna know how the quarter comes out until the very end of the quarter. I'm going to keep the TA short this week because I did a very lengthy explanation of my thoughts on AMC in general last week. If you missed that one and you want to know all of my thoughts about AMC in 10 minutes, please go watch last Sunday's TA video, and I'll put a link to it down in the video description for you. Last week in that TA video, I shared with you my thesis that AMC had found support and was likely to continue to move up into earnings, which is 8 trading days from now, November 6th on a Wednesday. We'll be covering that on a live stream here if you want to check that out. But that for last week, this bold yellow line here, the 50 EMA of $4.50 was likely to act as some resistance for the stock during the week last week. And that is what ended up happening. You can see this red candle went all the way up right to that 50 EMA and rejected off of it. For this week, October 28th to November 1st, same basic thought process here. I'd like to see some solid candles slowly taking AMC up to about $4.50. That $4.50 mark is going to continue to act as some resistance, and it would be very bullish if we could break above that, but I can't promise you right now that we will break above 450. Obviously, like many of you, I'd like to see a strong push up before earnings, and maybe that will happen, but we're going to have to test this $4.50 level and see what happens this week. Just like GameStop, there is a tombstone doji on the chart for AMC for Friday. The difference here between GameStop and AMC is GameStop has been on a downward trend and AMC is on a upward trend. A tombstone doji is a caution sign, but just like I said on the GameStop video, it needs to be validated by the next daily candle. So we're going to have to wait and see how AMC closes on Monday. If we do have a bad day on Monday and we get a red candle with a close lower than Friday's close, then we're going to have to reconsider what might happen during the week, because that would be a bearish indication on Monday. If I had to lay odds and make a guess where we're going to close this coming Friday, my number is going to be $4.50, although I certainly hope that we get a close above that. Let's go ahead and close out this video talking about the question you guys were asking me on the live Friday night. What do I think about the person on Twitter and YouTube who says AMC is going to $1.50. I'm going to repeat now a few things that I said on that live stream Friday night for those of you who did not have the chance to watch that yet. As you guys know, the gentleman is a algo repeater predictor. And you know, I'm not a fan of anybody who tries to predict a stock based on some version of fractals or repeating algos. We've seen a dozen of those people come and go over the last 3 years, and they mostly have a track record of being incorrect. I think that the gentleman at the end of last week was probably tired of being incorrect in this most recent cycle of his, and he got angry and threw out a price target of $1.50. I have drawn here the supply and demand zones of where AMC has support, and knowing what I know about the box office and the financials, which he has never once talked about, I don't see any way that AMC is going to fall to $1.50 and a $500 million market cap. It just makes no logical sense to me. The only way in my view that AMC goes down to that level is you would have to have some absolutely horrible news from the company or a general market crash. And if one of those were to happen, then yes, AMC would go down. I don't know that it would go down to $1.50 based on the improving box office. But if that is something that you're worried about, horrible news from AMC or an impending market crash, then you have the information. You can make whatever decisions you want to protect your portfolio. That is not a working thesis that I have. And if there is a market crash, I have a certain percentage of my portfolio set up in cash to buy dips on a wide variety of stocks that I'm following and accumulating for the long term. That's gonna wrap up this weekend's video. Thank you for watching all the way through to the end. Let me know your thoughts down below. Drop any comments or questions that you have. Thank you again for your time. I am Tony Denaro, and I will see ya on the next video.